If I could go back, this is what I would say to my 25-year-old self. Hey everyone, welcome back. I am Grace, your digital storyteller. I hope you're having a good week wherever you are in the world. This week we're talking about what I wish I knew before 25. And honestly, there's so much that I wish I knew, but I thought it would be fun to share some of the biggest things that have stuck out to me over the past few years. So let's jump in. Number 1, you are more than your mistakes. When I was younger, I remember feeling like if I did something wrong, then I was inherently wrong. So when I made a mistake, whether it was something small or big, I felt like that was all that people saw. And it got even worse when I did something wrong at work, because then not only did I feel like I let myself down, but I felt like I let everyone else down. And I can remember times where I have done something wrong and I felt so bad that I would almost start to believe that it must mean that I am a terrible person. And look, we've all made mistakes, we've all done things wrong, and yeah, sometimes they might be pretty bad, but what matters most is that you own up to them and you try to do better next time, and that's not always easy. Like, I'll admit, sometimes when I make a mistake, I tend to want to hide from it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to acknowledge that it happened, but I think the hardest thing for me was thinking that I was my mistakes, and it's easy to get sucked into that black hole of why am I like this? Why can't I do things right? Or even saying things to yourself like you're such an idiot. And while yes, it's true that we should hold ourselves accountable, there does come a point where you need to stop beating yourself up, like no one is perfect. No one has it all together. And so please don't think that you have to be perfect or else you are not good enough, because guess what? That's just simply not true. Number 2, it's okay to not have everything figured out. When I was 25, I remember feeling like I had to have my entire life planned out, like I had to know what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I still remember to this day the immense pressure that I felt knowing that I had to figure out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I remember thinking that if I didn't figure it out by the time I was 25, then I was somehow already behind in life. And so I ended up spending so much of my time trying to figure out what I was supposed to do instead of actually doing it. And this is something that I see happen to so many people around us. We spend so much time planning and thinking about our future that we forget to enjoy the present. And look, it's important to plan for the future. It's important to know where you want to be in 5 or 10 years. But it's also important to enjoy where you are now. Because I promise you, you're going to get where you want to be way faster than you think. So take some time to appreciate where you are now. Be grateful for what you have now. And even if you don't feel like you're exactly where you want to be in life, keep moving forward. Keep taking small steps every day and you'll eventually get there. Number 3, things will change. If there's one thing that I wish I knew before I turned 25, it's that things will change. And while that might sound obvious, it's something that I didn't really understand until I experienced it firsthand. I spent so much of my 20 seconds trying to hold on to the things that were happening at that time because I was afraid that if they changed, then I would lose something that was meaningful to me. And maybe this was especially true during my gap year when I was traveling around Southeast Asia, because I remember thinking that I had to make these experiences last forever. But what I didn't realize was that the memories that I was making would change over time. They would become more of a memory. And yeah, sure, that meant that the intensity of those feelings would fade away, but that didn't mean that what I experienced wasn't real or that it wasn't meaningful. And so I learned that change is inevitable. Like, things will change and it's going to hurt sometimes. But change doesn't always have to be a bad thing. In fact, I think it's one of the best parts of life because it means that you're growing. And yeah, sometimes when things change, it's going to hurt. Sometimes you're going to feel sad or angry or bitter about what's happening, but don't fight it. Don't try to hold on to the past because it will only cause you pain. Instead, embrace the change. Be excited about what's to come because it might not be what you expected, but it will lead you somewhere new, somewhere different, somewhere that you never would have imagined. Number 4, you are capable of so much more than you think. I remember being 25 and thinking that I had to have everything figured out, and in a way, I guess I kind of went off of what other people expected of me. And I ended up going to college, getting a job, saving money, buying a house, getting married. And I thought that this was the path that I was supposed to go down because this is what other people told me I was supposed to do. And yeah, maybe on paper it looked like I was successful, but in reality I was barely getting by. And I remember thinking that I needed to do all of these big things in order to be successful. But what I didn't realize was that success looks different for everyone. And while it's okay to get advice from other people and to take inspiration from their journeys, it's important to find your own path. Don't let anyone tell you what you're capable of or what you're not. Because I promise you, you are capable of so much more than you think. And finally, number 5, she is enough. Okay, so I know that this is a bit cheesy, but hear me out. When I was 25, I remember feeling like I had to be someone else in order to be loved or accepted by other people. And I think a lot of us do this. I mean, we compare ourselves to others and we think that in order to be enough, we need to be someone that we're not. But here's the thing, you don't need to change yourself in order to be enough. In fact, I think the opposite is true. I think that when we change ourselves in order to fit in, we end up missing out on the people who truly love us for who we are. And yeah, it can be hard to accept ourselves for who we are. It can be hard to love ourselves when we feel like we are constantly falling short of our own expectations. But I promise you, you are enough. You don't need to change yourself in order to be loved or accepted by other people. And that goes for romantic relationships too. There will be people out there who love you for who you are, who see your worth and who appreciate you for who you are. So don't waste your time trying to change yourself for people who aren't worth it. Instead, focus on being the best version of yourself and the right people will see your worth. So those are a few things that I wish I knew before I turned 25. I feel like I say this every single week, but I genuinely believe that this is a special age because you're young, you're full of potential, and you have so much ahead of you. But it is also an age where a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves to have everything figured out. And that's why I hope that these words can help remind you that you're not alone. So many of us go through the same thoughts and feelings, and sometimes it helps to hear that from someone else. So I'd love to hear from you. What are some things that you wish you knew before you turned 25? Leave a comment down below. I love reading your comments, and I'll see you next week.